Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. Here we have Death and Taxes versus Burn. Death and Taxes needing to mulligan twice. That is going to make it a tough game. Monastery Swiftspear going to lead out, do some damage. Both of these decks care very much about the board presence. They're going to look to turn creatures sideways and take chunks of your opponent's life total off incrementally compared to many of the other decks in the format, which kind of have a spectacular combo finish. A Rift Bolt getting suspended here. And Rashad Port is going to go ahead and put out a... Boy, that looks like... Oh, Stoneforge Mystic. It kind of looks like Thalia's Lieutenant. Stoneforge Mystic grabbing Batterskull. And the Rift Bolt taking down the Stoneforge, leaving that Batterskull stranded in hand. And we've got 3 burn spells played this turn. That's a +3/+3 for Monastery Swiftspear. And Tyler actually throwing a Mother of Runes in front of the Swiftspear, soaking up 4 damage. Otherwise, that Mother of Runes would have been able to hold off this Swiftspear. I mean, indefinitely is a strong word, but could certainly do quite a lot to keep it at bay, particularly when combined with other creatures. Swiftspear now getting Grim Lavamancer, and if you're looking for a card to help out with this matchup, I think Grim Lavamancer, absolutely one of the biggest ones that you can have. It's just going to be a little late here, as Stoneforge Mystic will be able to bring a Batterskull to the party. Wasteland actually pretty welcome here, as that can, in a pinch, be used for Tyler to eliminate his own Rishadenport, totally blanking Price of Progress if the game does get down to that super tight area. A couple of damage pushed through, and now Skewer the Critic reveals some more burn. And a Goblin Guide, a Lava Spike and a Goblin Guide, but this Batterskull really undoes both of those cards, the life gain from the lifelink on the Germ, and then also the ability to stand up against a threat like Goblin Guide. But that one looks like Luminarch's Aspirant. Comes down, and Batterskull getting bigger. Now, a lot of these little changes really make significant impacts to the strategies that you might typically employ. So a Goblin Guide plus a Grim Lavamancer activation, traditionally that's going to be totally fine for taking out a Batterskull. Once you push that to the extra 1 toughness, now it's even harder to interact with. So anytime that you're throwing in a spicy card into this matchup on either side, it can greatly complicate things. We've got a Lava Spike to the head and a mass of red creatures, but they're not going to be any match for this Batterskull-toting Germ. And Tyler getting to the point where he may actually be able to throw that onto another creature if need be. Goblin Guide considering the option, so it looks like a double block and an activation to take down the Germ, but the Batterskull remains. This can be returned to hand and put back out, or it can actually just be picked up by a creature on board if Tyler does have 1 more mana available on his next turn. Their life totals have been pushed off to the side, but I feel like at this point, Tyler firmly in control. A Rift Bolt. Attempts to take down a Stoneforge Mystic, but that puts in Umezawa's Jite. And now 2 damage coming in, which is actually chump blocked by Recruiter of the Guard. Tyler playing very cautiously with his life total. There's the 5 mana. And coming in for 6, gaining 6, and that's absolutely devastating. Yeah, Jeff is actually going to take the time to scoop it up. Life gain against burn is a really powerful form of card advantage. They're playing cards, Rift Bolt, Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, Skewer the Critics, Lava Spike. I mean, there's a bunch of cards in that deck that effectively cost 1 mana and do 3 damage. And that's really the whole deal. So when you're gaining 6 life off of a Batterskull like that, you're effectively negating 2 cards from their hand. That is literally the same type of impact as an Ancestral Recall in like a control matchup where you've gone up 2 cards essentially. And that is really what that feels like. Not a lot of matchups where that life gain is as relevant as it is against a burn. Tyler, considering this hand, he's going to throw it back. He did manage to win off of a mull to 5 there. And surprisingly, without Thalia. That is very often one of the cards that does a lot of work to slow burn down, at least drawing fire. If not, it can just make all of the spells incredibly inefficient. The difference in between Lava Spike, Fire Blast being 2 mana and 5 mana is a Thalia. Goblin Guide, that is how you get started. I'm going to see if I can keep track here. An Aether Vial of note because it not only accelerates Death and Tax's game plan, but it also allows them to avoid potentially casting cards into a Eidolon. And I believe Tyler now down to 11. I've got a Lava Spike and 3 times getting hit for 2. Just 3 this time. And that could have been it right there. Skewer the Critics post-combat, so you don't get the Prowess trigger. I'm not actually very impressed with that card in terms of the synergy for the deck. Mother of Runes coming down, and a Swords to Plowshares, so very interesting. I don't really agree with that timing on the swords. Tyler actually took the damage and then used the swords. I don't think he has that luxury. That's something that you sometimes do in control decks. You'll lock in that damage and then swords during the end step, potentially having your opponent use their mana differently than they would have, particularly if there's only a single threat on board. Sometimes you'll have them use their mana for something that doesn't affect the board, then you swords their creature, then you untap with counter spells, and you can actually keep the board clear for several turns. That is not at all how Death and Taxes is going to play. So we have a Price of Progress looking to chip in for just 2 damage, leaving Tyler at a precarious 3 life, and Exquisite Firecraft closes that one out. So Jeff very quickly on the play takes that one down. And we will need to keep track. I'll do my best. Unfortunately, that is off camera. All right, this game 3, Tyler has the play. Will that be the difference? He leads out with a Mother of Runes, and Jeff uses a Bloodstained Mire to get a Swift Spear out there. Unfortunately, not able to clear the Mom, meaning that she is going to be able to hold down the fort. And another one joins in. This could be quite bad for a hand that is really all about getting in there on the ground. We'll see how much direct damage he has. Another Monastery Swift Spear. And a third one. Very interesting. Oh, and Tyler not actually soaking up one of those damage with the Mother of Runes. That is very surprising, especially with Jeff being tapped out. A Lightning Bolt to the face. And now a Skewer the Critics. I'm sorry, not Skewer. That was Light Up the Stage. So 3 damage coming in. And a Swords to Plowshares taking down, actually before damage. So Mother of Runes now are going to be lowering the shields each turn as they tap to protect themselves. A Goblin Guide. This may allow Tyler to draw into that much-needed second land. And it does. And now Mother of Runes are going to block and activate. We've gotten a Braid taking 1 out. So 4 damage coming in. And a Mother of Runes down. And now light up the stage. Digging and finding lands. Stoneforge Mystic threatens to stabilize with a Batterskull. Can Jeff close the door before this Batterskull comes online? It's a lot of mountains. He could literally double Fire Blast. Everything turns sideways. Four damage. He's at 9, so a bolt will actually kill him. He is going to block. And we're giving protection from red to the Stoneforge Mystic. So soaking up and taking 1 damage. Mother of Runes presumably blocking Goblin Guide. And now Eidolon. That is going to make it difficult for Tyler to cast spells effectively. He reveals a Sanctum Prelate, and how sweet that would be if he was able to get that down on 1 a while ago. Though it does seem like Jeff's deck has a pretty large variety in terms of the casting costs. He's got Light Up the Stage and Skewer the Critics. We've got the Batterskull coming down. And, oh, that 3rd mana is essential here. But boy, can he afford to double block and take this thing down? Let's see. I think he just takes the damage here and then crack back for quite a lot. I mean, no, he is gonna take it down. So double blocking and then Flicker Wisp arriving and resetting. Absolutely blowout caliber play. He is at 10 life, stable with a Batterskull online, another body in the form of Flicker Wisp, and it looks like Tyler may have just totally stabilized. It's going to take an awful lot for Jeff to find a way back into this game. Skewer the Critics takes down that Stoneforge Mystic, and this is not a viable attack at this point for burn. However, Tyler can turn everything sideways. Luminarch Aspirant is going to give that +1/+1 counter and swing for 5. Jeff doesn't even have the option of triple blocking to take down the Germ now. And even more life gain funneling Tyler's way. As the power of the Germ grows, so too does the power of Batterskull. Chain Lightning takes out the Luminarch Aspirant, but still Flicker Wisp and Batterskull. And we're in chump block territory now. And it is... I mean, at this point, I guess we're just looking for a Smash to Smithereens to bail Jeff out. He is down to 1 card in hand. He really does need some type of artifact destruction. Smash is a card that is played. However, Sword of Fire and Ice is going to be just absolutely graphic here. It is going to be 7 damage. And nope, actually, that chump block was not legal. That has pro red and pro blue, so the damage was actually even greater than both players picked up on there. As Sword of Fire and Ice, along with Batterskull, that Germ got to live its best life there, carrying Tyler to victory. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.